All right. So we will just revise what we did yesterday. So because this is very important to understand, right? Just understand this three things. What is this? This is working directory. This is called staging area. This is remote repository, which is nothing but GitHub. So objectives of today's class is to explore GitHub. We will see all the options and uses of GitHub today. Yesterday, in the previous session, we saw about Git and working in local. So in today's session, we will see about remote repositories, which is nothing but GitHub. We will also explore the features of GitHub and see how to use it. And we are also going to discuss advantages of staging area. So you can say that why can't we just push everything from the working directory to the remote repository itself, right? So this might be one of your questions. So I will try to answer why there is something called staging area, right? So what is the use of staging area? Okay, let's say there are three files, file 1, file 2 and file 3. Okay, first advantage is you can select the file which you want to which you want to push to the remote repository, right? So if you don't want to push file 3, you can simply add file 1 and file 2. That is nothing but git add. You have to specify the file names, which is nothing but file 1 and file 2. If you give this command, it goes to the staging area. Okay, then you can give git commit with some message, then your files are staged, right? So only when your files are staged, now it is ready to push into the git remote repository, which is nothing but git push, right? So this is one of the advantages, which is you can select certain files which you want to push. The second most important advantage is you can clearly give the commit messages for the change you made, right? For example, in file 1 you have changed, like you have added few functionalities. Okay, you have added few functionalities. In file 2 you have removed few functionalities. Okay, let's keep file 3 as unchanged. Okay, now let's say you decide to add both the files now into the staging area. Okay, but when you're committing, what message are you going to give, right? So always remember one rule of committing: your commit has to be as atomic as possible. What do you mean by atomic? Your commit, generally, typically your commit messages should not have and in it, right? So it should be as atomic as possible. Like your commit messages or your commit should not have added functionality in file 1 and removed functionality in file 2,
This conference will now be recorded.
right? So if you have multiple messages in your commit messages, multiple commits in your commit messages, then it creates ambiguity, right? And also if you have made lot of changes and if you cannot figure out what commit message you should give, then it creates ambiguity. For that reason, there is a concept called atomicity. It means that your commit should be as simple as possible. So taking this example, you have added a functionality in file 1, you have removed a functionality in file 2. Okay, now what you can do is you can just add file 1 to staging area. Okay, first step is to just add file 1 to staging area, and then you can commit only file 1. So you can simply give git commit message will be added functionality, added some whatever functionality you have added. That is done. Now in the second step you can add file 2, and the next step is obviously git commit with message removed functionality. So what we have done, we have made two changes, but we have broken down both the changes into separate commits. This is called atomicity, or atomicity of commits. What is the advantages of atomicity is it clearly tells what you did. Let's say when if you have to roll back to some version, okay, if it is in this condition in which there is and in it, added functionality in file and removed functionality in file 2, if this is the situation, if you want to roll back to such a state that you just want to remove this part, you just don't want you removed something by mistake, and you want to roll back to this situation, then it is very difficult and it is not possible. But if you break it down and if you have two commits, then it is easier, right? So you can go back to whichever version you want. Okay, so that is the advantages of staging area here. So these are all called internals of git, right? So we cannot see how this functions whenever we give some command, and the magic behind the scenes we usually don't try to understand, right? So but these are all very important concepts. Once you know all these things, then you can make use of git in a more efficient way. So the whole point of understanding all these concepts is to uh, utilize git at the best, right? So internals of git, right? So make sure you understand the staging area, what is working directory, what is a repository. I've all explained these terms, right? So what do you mean by repository? When you hear the word repository, two things should come to your mind. One is source code or whatever content you have. Other thing is tracking of changes. So tracking of changes will be handled by Git for us. We just have to concentrate on source code. Okay. Now I think till previous session we had covered till here, which is nothing but local. Yeah, local repository. So today we will see how to push code into the remote repository, which is nothing but GitHub. So this is done by git push, right? So we have to set up few things for that. So we will today see the yeah git reset. We will Sukesh. We will also see git reset. Okay, but before that we will see the features of GitHub, how you can use it. First of all, why to use it, how you can use it, and what are all the features available on GitHub, right? Then finally we will see how to push code from remote repository to local repository to remote repository, right? So we will head towards GitHub. So if you don't have GitHub account, please create one. The creation step is very simple. I have I've showed in previous steps, previous videos. Yeah. So now this will be your home page, right? So you can see many options here: pull requests, issues, marketplace, explore, and in the left side you have all the repositories which you have. Here it is all about settings, your profile, your repositories, your projects, and everything. I think most importantly, why GitHub is used. I mean, personally, I used to explore other projects. See, this is how you can gain knowledge from open source. So, yeah, I can view all the projects which are open sourced and try to learn from it, or maybe try to improve the open source projects. Like for example, these are all the repositories to explore, which is let's say we go to this repository. This is something related to UI. So it says Brave UI. I am not sure what it is. Okay, so you can see the languages. TypeScript is used. So TypeScript is mainly used in Angular. So I can figure out this is an Angular project. So if I know Angular very well, and if I want to see how what is the standard of code they have written, or maybe you can also contribute to this code. Let's say you figure out some bugs in it and you decide to fix it. You can fix it and create a pull request, right? So we will also see what is pull request, right? So here you can go. This is not my repository. This is, see, there are already 21 contributors to this repository, which means 21 people have supported this code. So whenever, I mean, even if you have some ideas, and if you are working on a project, you can upload your code to GitHub and people can contribute to your project. See, that is how most of the very well known open source projects have evolved, right? So for that matter, even Android is open sourced. So people can contribute, and even I think Angular is also open sourced, right? Yeah. See, Angular and Angular. This is also open source. So people can view all the source code related to it. So see, if you see Angular, there are 1,300 contributors to it. So which means people all over the world are trying to improve it, right? So coming back to our main homepage. So these are the repositories or projects I have. These are the projects which I own, and I am the owner of all these projects. So let me just show you one example, one project I did, which is something called, yeah, Agrovision. So this is an Android app which I made, right? Um, which is just to for agriculture. It is a smart integration. You can control and control pipes, I mean sprinklers and things like that, right? So this was a project I made, and I decided to make it open source. So till now, three people have used my project. Three people have used it, and three people tried to improve it. Um, if you can notice one thing, there is this person called, I don't know how to pronounce, Sun Hyung. He's from China, and he contributed to my project. He added few more features to it, right? So people from all over the world try to contribute, and you know, you can also contribute to other projects. So it is a very great platform to improve your programming skills and also try to see what others are creating. You will get a lot of ideas here. So this is, I think, must for all developers, right? So let's see how to create a new repository first, right? So there are multiple options. If I give new repository, first you have to give some repository name. Okay, let's give it a SkillBout, SkillBout Git training. Okay, so you have to give some description. Demo repo for Git training. Okay, all right. And see, you can see two options here, public and private. Public is anyone can see, anyone on the internet can see this repository. So it is a, unless you are working on some confidential projects, you can make a repository public and people, that's how people can contribute to your project. But if you are working on some very confidential thing and which you don't want to, you don't want others to see it, you can still choose private here. Okay, so let's give it as public now. So we can ignore all these things for now. I think you will not see these two things, but that's okay. This is a very simple step to create repository, right? So we will create the repository. So now the repository is created. Okay, if you can see all, let's see where is our repository created. Yeah, so now we will push our code into GitHub. Now let's delete this now. This is all we have for now. What is the first step? First step is git init. What happens if you give this? Your project is now a git repository. So we will see what is git status. What is the status of repository? There are no commits yet, and these are the untracked files. So we have to add it. If we wish to push into the remote repository, we need to add all these files. So I want to add all the files. So there is a simple step, which is git add and full stop. If you see git status here at this point, all your files are committed. Sorry, all your files are staged. Correct? All your files are staged. It is ready to commit now. Okay. Now, if we give git commit with a message, let's say this has initial commit, init commit, right? So you can give any message. Sorry. Yeah. What happened? So all the files are now staged. So you know, if you give git status, you don't have anything because all the files are staged. Sorry, yeah, staged. And now, how do you push into the remote repository? First, you have to copy this link. You can click this or you can control C, you can give control C. Okay. Okay, before that, you have to create a branch. I will explain what is a branch, but you have to create a branch called main. So how do you do it? Git branch, you have to give main. Okay, right now, yeah, so the next step is to add our remote repository. Git remote add origin your link, this link. Okay, yeah. So how we, let's verify if the remote is added successfully or not. Git remote minus v is verify. Yeah. So it is telling that origin means your remote repository. Remember, origin means remote. Okay. So now it is telling that yeah, your repository is successfully added to remote. You can also push, you can also fetch and pull. So all both the options are available. Okay. All right. Now what is the next step? We next step is to push it. Git push minus u is upstream. Okay. So what is upstream means? Yeah, this is GitHub and this is your local, right? So what is upstream means whenever you are pushing from local to GitHub, it is called upstream. So it is an option. So what is option? Whatever you write command and if you give hyphen, whatever is followed after hyphen is called option. So this is called command. This is called option. So we are telling we are, since we are pushing from local to GitHub, we have to give u. U stands for upstream. Okay. Yeah. So git push u. Okay. Origin is nothing but remote. We are telling git to push to our remote repository, which has a branch. Since we created a branch called main, which, which has a branch called main. Okay. Right. So now let's go back to our GitHub and see what happened here. Yeah. So if you can see all our files which are there in local is here now. Okay. What is our branch name? It's called main. There is only one branch which is default. Default branch is main, right? So till here, are you clear? Any doubts?
So
Any
can we
doubts?
tell it as main as one folder name?
Main as you can consider a main as folder. See, I will tell you what is branch. No, we cannot say folder exactly, but okay. Since you brought up the topic, we will also discuss what is branching here, right? So main is called as a branch, correct? Before, I think 2 months back, GitHub decided to call default branch as main, but before that it was called master. So now it is main. Anyway, so main is a branch. Okay. So what is a branch means? you have some working code till here. Okay, I will tell you why branching is used. Till here, let's take example of calculator itself. Calc version 1. Till here it is on the main branch. Okay, so till here we have developed some code some functionalities we have. So we decided to add one more functionality. So let's say this functionality has a lot of lines. Okay, this functionality has around 500 lines of code, which is less, but yeah, we will take it as 500 lines of code. There is some functionality we have written here. Okay, let's call, we will call this branch as feature feature one branch, feature one. Okay, this is a main branch. Okay, so you have written some, so when you branch it, right? So whatever code you have, it will be copied here. So uh, since let's say we have 200 lines of code already existing, which has four functionalities, and if you decide to branch from there, it will create a copy, exact copy of all the code you have in the branch you created. So from there you can build upon the whatever extra features is there, you can build. Okay, and if in case it fails and you decide not to have this feature, you can simply delete this branch. In case whatever you are working on the features, right, 500 lines of code, it is not at all working, you can simply delete this branch, right? But if whatever you are working was succeeded and it is working well, and you decide to add it to the main branch, you can merge it. This is called merge, right? So we also discussed something called um, restore, right? Git restore. You might ask, we can simply use git restore, right? It is also doing the same thing. But git restore works only when files are unstaged. Okay, but this even after pushing it to remote repository, you can discard this, right? So you can create as many branches as you want. Main branch should always have, remember, main branch should always have working code at any point of time. If you check main, whatever functionality, let it be one function to whatever you, the code is there in on main branch, it should be working. Okay, whatever you want to explore or you want to do some changes, you can create one more branch from the working code. So if you create a branch, the working code will be copied to the branch and you can start working, right? So I will also, yeah, so I will about branch, right? Oh, fine. I will discuss again, right? So now we have a calculator program. Okay, in that we have add function and subtract function, right? So we will push it into remote repository, which has add and subtract, right? So this is on main branch. This is main branch. This is main. We have add and subtract, which is working fine, which is completely working fine. So now we decide to add one more branch from here. We create one more branch. So this is main branch. This we will call it as feature one branch. Okay, so feature one branch, i- once the branch is created, it has add and subtract method. Okay, so in from local also you can push it. So from local also you can create multiple branches. Now what you do, you decide to add multiply and divide functions, and you push it to feature one branch. So now what happens? Multiply and divide is also present here. Okay, so this is our main branch which still has add and subtract. We tested this, we tested all these functionalities, it is all working fine. Now after adding multiply and divide, which is let's keep an hypothetical situation which is around 1,000 lines of code, which is very huge, right? So we again decide to test all the functionalities. So once we decide to test, we figure out that the whole program or somewhere it is failing, it is not functioning as expected. Somewhere or the other, maybe multiply is not happening properly, or even now addition is also failing for some reasons, right? Now we can simply delete this branch. So if simply delete this branch, we still have working code, we still have whatever we had initially which is working fine. Now let us say, so now let's say whatever we added is working fine. Okay, so let's say we added multiply and divide, right? So it is all working fine. Add is also fine, this is also working, this is also working, this is also working. So everything is working now. Since everything is working and the whole system software we developed is working, we can merge it to main, right? So now, so now main has, so main has add, subtract, multiply, divide functions, which is working code, which is working fine, right? Which is working. And we, let's say we have multiple developers working on some many features. So they can create as many branches as possible and work on some task individually, and then finally merge into the master. So let's say initially everything has add and subtract. Okay, so if there are any other functionalities, people can work on this, and if this is only if this is working fine, they can merge it into the main branch. Okay, so now is it clear? Okay, yeah, good. Okay, so we will make some changes now and try to push our code. Okay, right. So we will add return prod. Okay, and if we see the status at any point, you just keep checking the status, right? So you will see what happened. Yeah, I have a I have modified some file, and I want to push it into the remote repository. How do you do this? First, you have to give git add, then it is in the staging area. Now, if after committing, added return statement, right? Now file is staged. Now let's, if we see the status, yeah, everything is staged. It is ready to push. Git push stream origin master, sorry, origin main. Okay, yeah. Now if you go back, if you refresh, you can see this, right? Added return statement. Our change is reflected here. Okay. You can also see what are the changes I made. If you see here, yeah. So this is actually very, very helpful also for if somebody else is seeing your code. What in this commit we added this line, right? So it is showing in green. It is showing plus, right? So it means we added this line of code. Okay. Now we will try to do one more thing. In calculator, we will remove this add function.
Sir, as of now, we have created only a main branch that, no, sir.
Correct, correct. We have only main branch. So we will just work on main branch for now. Branching is another session. It is very huge concept. We will cover in another session. So typically what happens is uh, why you use Git is to track or you keep track of your changes which are being made to some repository, right? So for that branching is not required. Only main branch is enough. Okay. So what? So now we deleted the add function here. I'll simply give git add, git commit. I'll say deleted add function. Again, I made the same mistake. Okay. Yeah. So now git push. Okay. So now if you go back and see, yeah, if you select history here, see, we deleted the file here, right? Sorry. The code, the add function is not there anymore, but still you can see the code here, which is in red and minus, which means that it is these were the line which were removed in this commit. It shows one file changed with zero addition. We didn't add anything in this commit, but we removed 5 lines. Okay. So you can also just for your reference, you can also add some comments here, right? So just just for your reference to make sure why you deleted, you can say deleted since this is not required anymore, or you for your reference you can write something here, or you can comment on this and save it. So because whenever you or when somebody else looks into this and if they are wondering why you did this, you can explain here. Okay. Yeah, I think we will wind off for the day. This should be enough. So we looked into several things. One is the features of Git and the how do you push something from local to remote repository, right? So yeah, so I think we are left with couple of more topics, which is nothing but
Branching,
correct
reset.
branching. Yeah, reset is yeah. I will keep it for next session. Next session because reset has multiple options. It and you have to understand few things here. There is something called hard reset. So internally something happens, right? So there is something called soft reset, and yeah. So even in soft reset, there are multiple other options. So you can simply give reset without any options as well, which is default, right? So we will take up in the next session. So branching is there, reset is there, and yeah, we will have these two. I think in the next session where we can cover. There's I think last is collaboration with multiple developers, right? So this we will do a real-time demo. So how we are going to do is you will be writing some code, I will be writing some code. We will push both code into same repository and see how it is working, right? So so by this we can finish off this course and we can take question and answers and we can discuss interview questions.
Okay, sir.
Right. So any doubts still here?
No, sir, it's clear, sir.
So now you know what is a branch, right? So why it is used.
Yes, sir. It is
So
used to
branch, yeah,
branching
yeah,
is nothing but it is used to check whether adding the functionality. We can say
correct,
easily.
correct. Yeah. So
If
branching
if
we
it
saw
works,
theory wise. Sorry.
yes, sir. If it works, we can merge it with the main thing.
Yeah, right. That's absolutely right. So branching theory wise we covered almost thing. We will see demo. I think by seeing demo you will understand more clearly,
Yes, sir.
right? Yeah. So this is all I had for today. Thank you so much for attending.